All right, everyone. How are we doing tonight? I know I haven't made any videos in a while, but I figure we would make one. It'd be kind of a, I don't know how long this video is really going to be, but there's going to be a few videos I'm going to talk about in here, and we're going to discuss I'm going to discuss them with you guys, okay? And I'm going to show you some things. Show you some scripture to this, okay? It's important, okay? It's part of the reason of the armor of God. Um, a lot of people don't understand Christianity. And some have an understanding of it. A lot of people have education in it, but its purpose was main purpose is for. And um, if you read through all the epistles like Acts and read through Paul's letters, and you read through Peter and all that, you'll see some things, okay? And you're going to see some things that I'm talking about, okay? Um, you also see things that Jesus talked about. Jesus came to say by just not dying for us, okay? That was part of it, okay? The other part is that we had to make a change. We have to make a change, no matter what. And Holy Spirit comes in and gives us guidance where we need to be. It's like the conviction, you know what I'm saying? When you have a conviction in you that you know that something's not right. Okay? Well, there's a certain means you have to go by it. Okay? A certain means that you have to go by it in a certain way. And it's meant that way. Okay? So what we're having is what they call Lucifer and his children of disobedience. Okay? This mic is probably not that great. Um, been having issues with the other mic, so I'm going to be using this one for this video and see what it really comes out to, if I like it. I'll keep it. If not, I'll change back to what I had. But I'm going to use it for this video. So we're going to have some things that we're going to discuss. But first, we're going to watch a few videos. I ain't going to watch the whole clip of each video. There's going to be certain parts that we're going to talk about. All right. So, with that said, we're going to go ahead and get started. All right.
Okay, let's drill down into the news today. That big change on immigration, 700 officers leaving Minneapolis. Did that come from you?
Yes, it did. But it didn't come from me because I just wanted to do it. We are waiting for them to release prisoners, give us the murderers that they're holding, and all of the bad people, drug dealers, all of the bad people. We allowed in our country, I say 25 million people with an open border policy for 4 years under Biden and that group, the auto pen group, I call them. We allowed to come into our country people the likes of which no country would accept. And we're getting them out. Yeah. But we've gotten a lot of them out. So crime now in Minnesota, crime now in Minneapolis is down. Crime in all cities.
People in our country illegally can self-deport the easy way, or they can get deported the hard way, and that's not pleasant. The Biden administration exploited the CBP-1 app to allow more than 1 million aliens to illegally enter the United States. Now my administration is launching the CBP Home app to give people in our country illegally an easy way to leave now and self-deport voluntarily. If they do, they could potentially have the opportunity to return legally at some point.
Gentleman from Arizona is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Manuel, isn't it true that there are constraints on the use of First Amendment speech rights?
Yeah, I mean, so yes, the First Amendment.
There's constraints on it, right? And it's permissible for.
All right, you guys already watched those couple videos, so we're going to get to this part right here. I don't want to take too much time.
You cannot videotape police activity if there's a reasonable expectation of privacy by anyone there, right?
I'm
That's
not
what the
following
courts
that.
say?
I'm not following that. You have a right to videotape law enforcement when law enforcement is conducting its activity in public spaces.
In public
That is what
spaces,
is
right?
going
But if
on.
there's a reasonable expectation of privacy, courts have said that you can't go beyond that.
Okay, you heard that, right? Public spaces. We're gonna watch a couple videos. We're gonna see if they're public spaces. You ready? This is news media, I think. Or it could be. Well, it's not news media. Where is this? Does that look like a public space? That looks like a residential area. On top of that, what else are they doing? Honking the horns. I mean, they're just making mischief. Okay, does this look like a public space to you? I don't think so. This looks like a residential area. Wouldn't you say? On top of that, as you can hear, they're honking their horns. All right. What do you think? What do you think that's called? That's just like, hey, there's a predator in that house. There's a sexual predator. How do you know whether or not it's a drug dealer, a sexual predator, or what's really going on? Okay. They're probably giving them warning. They're probably giving them some information. Who knows what's going on with those guys? Okay. Nobody knows. You guys seem to think you know. Well, I beg to differ. Okay. Because sometimes things are not always as it seems. I understand that. We're going to move on to the next one.
Or Jason Chaffetz, now former Utah congressman and Fox News contributor. Look,
this is insane. You look down here, makeshift checkpoints used to track ICE in Minnesota. I want to tell you something. What you guys are doing is strictly illegal. No matter what. You're looking at other people's license plates. You're invading privacy for one. Okay? You could go to federal prison for that stuff. Okay? Two, because invading the privacy of another by impersonating a police officer. Okay? You're stalking ICE agents. Okay? That's like if one of these ICE agents gets killed and they don't find the murderer, they're going to come looking for you. You understand? Because you were there. They're going to come looking for you because you got full face all. They're going to come looking for you. And what answer are you going to give them when one of them died? I wasn't involved. Well, guess what? Now you are. And since I can't find the person, it's conspiracy to commit a murder or a crime on an ICE agent. That's federal charge. And I'm going to tell you something else you are not going to like. So, if one of those ICE agents winds up dying because of your stupidity, because you want to make these makeshifts so you could track ICE agents, this is what's going to happen. You get into prison and you turn around and you want to be one of those type of people and want to impersonate a cop. There's people there that do not like that stuff whatsoever. And you will have a bad day. Every day you will have a bad day. That's not a joke. Okay? But you guys think that you're doing a good thing. You're not doing a good thing whatsoever. Okay, so go to the next one. All right, here we go.
Meanwhile, Tom Homan's going to have his presser today, and I'm sure it's going to be informative. You know, one thing he talked about when he first took the job back and took control is, I got 3,000 agents here. There's going to be conditions where we'll draw down and take take some pressure off. But you got to give us access to your jails is one of the demands. The mayor and governor at separate times said, oh, we're not giving you that, which, by the way, they just decide what federal laws they're not going to comply with. Pretty sure that doesn't fly in America. Number two, he did pull out most of the Border Patrol. So this is ICE now, but the Border Patrol has pulled back to a degree. So we'll see where we go from here. But it hasn't stopped these local.
Okay, you just heard what he said, right? Something about that they were going to go ahead and allow these people get arrested by the locals, okay? And then they'll be in their jail, and then they can come pick them up after that. These are the ones that are committing crimes, okay? These are the ones they're looking for, primarily. But since They're looking for those primarily. They might as well grab them all. One's good for the other. That's why I'm going to show you, like what Trump said about the app. And there is an app for this, okay, that they can actually use. And I don't see any real big issues with this. I'm not in their footprints, right, or in their shoes about where they're at. But I don't see any real issue in here. If he's saying if you do it in this aspect, they're going to leave you alone. Okay, they got you documented that you're leaving. They got your name, all that other stuff, got your fingerprints. Then when you come back legally, they should leave you alone, right? I don't see why they wouldn't. So we're going to look at this one.
While residents in Minneapolis have created their own method of public safety against ICE, roadblocks or checkpoints have.
This is not a public safety whatsoever. If you have not realized yet, okay, if you have not realized yet, the protest that you guys have done, all right, one, there was a lady that did a protest and she got shot because she decided that she was going to take matters in her own hands and try to run somebody over. Okay? Two, you got one protester that just decided to one day take his gun to the protest. What are you doing with a gun at a protest? That just puts a thought in their mind of saying, what are you? I mean, this guy is out to kill someone. This guy's out to maim. He is out because he's thinking he's feeling unsafe. But what are you doing there? I mean, it's a mess, guys. It's a complete mess. So I could go on and go on with this. We'll go one more. Now this one, I'm gonna tell you right now. If I was that guy, and if I was in a certain way, I probably would have knocked you out.
A South Minneapolis taco shop is open again after a confrontation involving men believed to be ICE agents raised fear among workers and neighbors. Our Derek James has the story.
Ilsa Denise Aguilar Ortega is back at work, taking orders and serving customers during lunch.
It's something that warms your heart.
That fear followed a confrontation here Sunday when a crowd surrounded a group of men.
Right here. If I was not in the right state of mind as I am now, I probably would have knocked you out. Because it was uncalled for. And then I probably would have wound up in jail. But he was acting calm, cool, and collective, but you guys ain't. You're acting like some kid stole your toy. It's insane. It's just completely insane.
And they believed to be ICE agents after they ate inside the restaurant. In this video, one person is seen knocking a drink from a man's hand. Aguilar Ortega says the encounter began like any other business day, with her daughter taking the men's orders. Staff had no indication they were law enforcement.
We always thought that the ICE agents were going to come with their outfits. We never thought they were going to come like civil.
These people are probably living in this city. Okay? They're your neighbors. Let's think about this. Who was one of the most hated disciples of Jesus, of the Jews? One of the most hated. I could give you an answer. And it would be the correct answer. Matthew was the most hated. I'm going to tell you why. He was a tax collector. Okay? He was doing a job. Not a job he really wanted, and he was being hated, for what he was doing. And he felt that all these guys probably feel it's like they're probably doing the wrong thing, but they're doing it for a reason. All right? They're there for a reason. And so I'm done with these videos. We're going to get off this here, and we're going to go straight in to this. Okay. Remember when I said there was the Customs Border Protection thing? Well, right here it is. It's a mobile app. You can download this thing as a mobile app. It's on the Patrol app. Anybody you know that's still here illegally and wants to try to get out in a manner to where they can be able to expedite their legalization back to here, I would do it. I would. I'd pray about it. Most definitely pray about this, because the simple fact of it is God knows how to take care of everybody. He doesn't want one side to be damaging while the other side's not getting what they need. You understand? If somebody wants to be here, they have to be here in a certain manner. And impersonating a public servant is the next one. I didn't want to look up all the laws on this stuff, but you can look it up in Wikipedia. It is a crime or misdemeanor in several jurisdictions and consisting of pretending to hold a public office and exercise that authority or attempt to include another person to do something. They have, for example, been charges for imprisonment as a fire inspector, a city code compliance officer, and a child protective service official, and ICE agents. Okay? This stuff, guys, is, yeah, you don't do that. And then here's another one. Stalking. You're taking people's license plate numbers. You're getting people's identities. You're finding out where they live. What are you going to do with that stuff? What are you doing with that stuff? Why do you want it? There's only one reason why you want it. Okay? And it's right here. It's clear as day. There ain't no other way you want it but for that. And there's heavy implications for that type of stuff. Heavy. You can become a registered offender. You could become a registered violent offender by doing stuff like that. And then think you can go out there and protest after that, after you get arrested for it. It's not a joke. But you guys think you're doing something right. And I can even take, for instance, how many different laws you guys probably broke, but they never turn around and insist on enforcing the law because they know you're upset. Okay? But they could take it to the full extent. Okay? They could. But there's something else we're going to get to right now. Okay? That you need to understand. Remember that guy that turned around and said he was going to say, he said it was time to get boots on the ground and start killing them? Okay? You're going to have individuals like that. They're not even on social media. And you're collecting this information. What do you think they're going to do? Come up to you and smile in your face and tell you, hey, I hear you got some information. Can I look at that? They're going to look at that stuff. And then they're going to write down addresses and names and shit like that. What do you think is going to happen? You guys don't think. Like my dad always said, think before you act, think before you speak. You're going to get yourself in trouble. Okay, so, we'll go right here. This is in the Bible. And you can look this scripture up for yourself. But like I said prior in one of my other videos, he ordains things. So we're going to read this if you want to follow along. If you don't, and you just want to click off the video, be like, I just think it did a rant and rave. It's not a rant and rave. That's simple active. You're doing something wrong, and you need to realize it. Let your souls be subject unto the higher powers, for there is no power but God, the powers that be ordained of God. Whosoever therefore resisteth the power resists the ordinance of God, and they that resist shall receive themselves damnation. For rulers are not a terror to good works, but to the evil. Wilt thou then not be afraid of the power? Do that which is good, and thou shalt have praise of the same. For he is a minister of God to thee for good. But if thou do that which is evil, be afraid. For it breathes not the sword in vain. For he is the minister of God, a revenger, to execute wrath upon him that doeth evil. Wherefore ye must needs be subject, not only for wrath, but also for consciousness' sake. For this cause pay ye tribute also, for they are God's ministers, attending continually upon this very thing. Render therefore to all their due. Tribute to him tribute is due. Custom custom. Fear to whom fear. Honor to whom honor. Owe no man anything, but to love one another. For he that loveth another hath fulfilled the law. For this, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness, thou shalt not covet. And if there be any other commandment, it is briefly comprehended in this saying, namely, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. You see this? You hear? And if there be any other commandment, it is briefly comprehended in this saying. Okay? Love worketh no ill to his neighbor. Therefore love is the fulfilling of the law. And that knowing the time that now it is high time to awake out of your sleep now, is our salvation nearer than we believe. The night is far spent, the day is at hand. Let us therefore cast off the works of darkness, and let us put on the armor of light. Let us walk honestly as in the day, not in rioting, drunkenness, not in chambering and wantonness, not in strife and envying. But put ye on the Lord of Christ, make not provision for the flesh to fulfill the lust thereof. And Peter, he went on to say, submit yourselves to every ordinance of man for the Lord's sake, whether it be to the king as supreme, or unto governors, as unto them that are sent by him, for the punishment of evildoers, or for the praise of them that do well. For so is the will of God, that with well-doing you may put to silence the ignorance of foolish men. As free, and not using your liberty for a cloak of maliciousness, but as a servant of God. Honor all men, love the brotherhood, fear God, honor the king. Servants, be subject to your masters with all fear, not only to the good and gentle, but also to the forward. For this is thankworthy. If a man for conscience toward God endure grief, suffering, and wrongfully. For what glory is it, if, when we be buffeted for your fault, for we take it patiently, that if, when we do well and suffer for it, we take it patiently, this is acceptable to God. And Jesus said unto him, put up again thy sword into his place. All that they take the sword shall perish with the sword. You understand that? Those who live by the sword die by the sword. It's not a joke. It happens. You see it happen in war. They say unto him, Caesar. And they say unto him, render therefore unto Caesar the things which are Caesar's, and unto God the things that are God's. What is Jesus saying on that? Okay? If there's a certain ordinance or there's a certain thing that President Trump wants to be done, it must be have given from him. Okay? It must be an ordinance from God to have this done. There must be a reason behind it. And guess what the reason is? It's pretty plain and a simple fact. What is going on is that they're looking for criminals that were let in this country. Alright? They're escaping prosecution in their own country. Just like if you were escaping prosecution here and you go to a different country, they're going to send you back. It makes no difference. If you committed a crime here and you decide to flee to a different country, they're going to send you back. Because it's right to do. This is what Trump is doing. It's right to do. Send them back to the country they committed the crime at. Okay, so they can face their judgment. And God would want that. God doesn't want to kill everybody, but he wants people to learn. But he will. I mean, he will. You know, he don't want it, but he will. You guys need to really pray. You guys really need to stop and think about this. Alright? If you guys are Christians and you're doing this type of stuff, you really need to pray and think about this. The ones who are not Christians, I'm sorry, but you're going to have some issues coming to you. I guarantee it. That's not a joke. Because after this is all said and done and over with, you just put a stain on your name. That's what you don't realize. What you do today affects how tomorrow's going to be. It's not a joke. Even though Jesus said, don't worry about tomorrow. Well, you'll be worried about tomorrow. After everything's said and done, everything's over with, everything's settled down, you're going to be worrying about tomorrow. And you'll be going to be worrying about today. And you'll be thinking about your past. You want to know why? Because you've got that nasty heart. And then you got this devil is playing with you. And the only way you're going to get rid of that is you're going to have to come to him. You're going to have to come to God. You're going to have to come to Jesus. You're going to have to repent. You're going to have to follow what he says. Okay, because you put yourself in that situation. Okay? All of us put ourselves into a situation. I hope you guys really take heed and think about this. The ones that are pulling this stuff. Because, yeah. It's not good. It's not good at all. So, you guys have a good night. I won't be posting another video on Bible studies, but I thought I would say something about this and get this out of the way. Talk to you later. All right.